John Howard Tory. entities is a Canadian politician who has served as the 65th and current mayor of Toronto since December 1, 2014. After a career as a lawyer, political strategist and businessman, Tory ran as a mayoral candidate in the 2003 Toronto municipal election and lost to David Miller. Tory subsequently served as the leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party from 2004 to 2009, and was a member of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario representing Dufferin, Peel, Wellington, Grey and serving as the leader of the opposition in Ontario from 2005 to 2007. After his resignation as PC leader in 2009, Tory became a radio talk show host on CFRB, despite widespread speculation that he would run for mayor again in 2010. He announced in January that he would not be a candidate. He was the volunteer chair of the non-profit group Civic Action from 2010 to 2014. On February 24, 2014, he registered as a candidate for the 2014 mayoral election. On October 27, 2014, Tory was elected mayor of Toronto, defeating incumbent Mayor Rob Ford's brother, Councillor Doug Ford, and former councillor and Member of Parliament Olivia Chow. On October 22, 2018, he was re-elected mayor of Toronto in the 2018 mayoral election, defeating former chief city planner Jennifer Keesmaat. Tory, the eldest of four, was born in Toronto, Ontario, to Elizabeth and John A. Tory, president of Thomson Investments Limited and a director of Rogers Communications. His grandfather was lawyer John S. D. Tory and his great-grandfather founded Sun Life of Canada. Tory has two brothers, Michael and Jeffrey, and one sister, Jennifer. One of Tory's ancestors, James Tory, was a soldier in the 71st Scottish Regiment. He was captured and held as a prisoner of war during the American Revolution. He later settled in Nova Scotia in the 1780s. His maternal grandmother, Helen Yvonne Solomon, was born in 1909 to a Russian Jewish family that had immigrated to Canada 6 years earlier and settled in Toronto. Helen Solomon married Howard English Bacon, an Anglican, and their daughter Elizabeth Bacon was raised a Christian and married Tory's father, John A. Tory. In 1953, Tory is a member of the United Church of Canada. Like his father and grandfather, he attended the University of Toronto schools, at the time a publicly funded high school affiliated with the University of Toronto. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Trinity College at the University of Toronto in 1975. He received his Bachelor of Laws degree in 1978 from Osgoode Hall Law School of York University. He was called to the bar in Ontario in 1980. From 1972 to 1979, Tory was hired by family friend Ted Rogers as a journalist for Rogers Broadcasting's Toronto radio stations CFTR and CHFI. From 1980 to 1981, and later from 1986 to 1995, Tory held various positions at Tory, Day Lawyers and Binnington, including partner, managing partner, and member of the executive committee. From 1981 to 1985, Tory served in the office of the Premier of Ontario, Bill Davis, as Principal Secretary to the Premier and Associate Secretary of the Cabinet. After Davis retired as Premier in 1985, Tory joined the office of the Canadian Special Envoy on Acid Rain. As Special Advisor, the Special Envoy had been appointed by the Mulroney government to review matters of air quality, with a United States counterpart. Tory supported Diane Cunningham's bid to lead the Ontario PCs in 1990. Tory later served as tour director and campaign chairman to then Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, and managed the 1993 federal election campaign of Mulroney's successor, Kim Campbell, in his role as the Progressive Conservative campaign co-manager that year. He authorized two infamous campaign ads that ridiculed Liberal candidate Jean Chrétien's face, which is partially paralyzed due to a childhood disease. The ads were greeted with much outcry among the Canadian public. They were withdrawn 10 days after their first airings, and the Progressive Conservatives would proceed to be decimated in the federal election. From 1995 to 1999, he returned to Rogers Communications, but this time as president and CEO of Rogers Media, which had become one of Canada's largest publishing and broadcasting companies. Rogers has interests in radio and television stations, internet, specialty television channels, consumer magazines, trade magazines and, at the time, the Toronto Sun and the Sun newspaper chain. In 1999, he became president and CEO of Rogers' subsidiary Rogers Cable, which he led through a period of transition from a monopoly environment to an open marketplace. Overseeing a significant increase in operating income, Tory stepped down after Ted Rogers announced that he would stay on as president and CEO of parent company Rogers Communications. He served as the 9th commissioner of the Canadian Football League from 1996 to 2000. Tory continued to have an interest in being a broadcaster throughout his life and, as a Rogers executive, H.